In September 1982, Chicago area hospitals began receiving patients who collapsed without warning. They had no visible injuries, no prior illness, and no connection to one another. Some died within minutes of arriving, were far beyond what could happen accidentally. What terrified investigators was the realization that the poison was not introduced at the factory. The Tylenol bottles had been purchased from ordinary stores, opened, poisoned, resealed, and quietly placed back on shelves. Anyone could have picked them up. Anyone could have died. Within days, 7 people were confirmed dead. They were strangers to one another, a 12-year-old girl, young adults, parents. There was no pattern of age, lifestyle, or location beyond one thing. They trusted a common medicine. The news spread faster than the investigation. People across the United States stopped taking capsules overnight. Pharmacies emptied shelves. Parents threw away medicine cabinets. For the first time, Americans realized that a random consumer could be targeted without ever being seen. Johnson & Johnson immediately recalled over 30 million bottles nationwide, a move that cost over $100 million and permanently changed product safety. Tamper-proof packaging was born from fear, not regulation. But the killer was still out there. Police focused on Chicago, tracing where each victim bought their Tylenol. The bottles came from different stores, sometimes miles apart. That suggested the poisoner was mobile, methodical, and patient. Investigators concluded the tampering happened after the products reached stores, meaning surveillance footage, fingerprints, or witnesses would be nearly impossible to obtain in 1982. Then came the letters. In the months following the murders, a man claiming responsibility wrote to newspapers and the company, demanding money and mocking authorities. The letters were chilling, but never conclusively tied to the poisonings. Handwriting analysis was inconclusive. No fingerprints matched. One suspect emerged, James William Lewis, a man with a criminal history who sent an extortion letter demanding $1 million to stop the killings. He was arrested, but only for extortion. There was no physical evidence linking him to the poisoned bottles, no witnesses, no proof he was even in the right locations at the right times. He served prison time for the letter, not the murders. And when he was released, the case was still unsolved. Over the years, investigators revisited the evidence again and again. They questioned whether there was one killer or more, whether the murders were meant to extort money, spread panic, or simply demonstrate control. One unsettling detail never changed: the precision. The poisoner selected a product trusted by millions, knew exactly how much poison would kill instantly, and understood that randomness would make the crime almost impossible to solve. There was no warning, no demands before the deaths, no attempt to control who lived or died. That randomness is what still haunts investigators, because crimes usually have motive. This one had impact. Decades later, the case remains open. The killer was never charged, no one was ever held accountable, and the person who placed death inside a medicine bottle was never identified. The Tylenol murders didn't just change packaging laws, they changed how safe people believed the world was. Because for the first time, a crime proved that you didn't have to be targeted to be murdered. You just had to trust the wrong thing on the wrong day.